Hi, this is Ashley, and I'm here to give you my thoughts on A Court of Thorns and Roses. Yes, I have it. I love this book. So this is going to be my spoiler video. So if you have not read A Court of Thorns and Roses, I will go ahead and put a link right here where the book is, and you guys can go check it out. I have a spoiler-free review that is over here, and I will get into the spoilers, so if you don't want to know about them, you should probably click away. So A Court of Thorns and Roses comes out last week, and I'm like, yeah, I want to read this book because it was one of my top books of the year that I was anticipating. There aren't that many more. It's probably my top three were Golden Sun, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and Armada. So as you can probably imagine, I was extremely excited and I didn't want to wait to get to this. So I didn't. I picked it up. I read the first few pages. I was tired. I just didn't get through it for the first 2 days that I was reading it. And then I had the time and I blew through it and I could not put it down for the last 300 pages. That's pretty intense. And it's not like I wanted to put it down in the first 100 pages. It's just, you know, life. There have not been that many new adult fantasies that have been out so far. And that's a damn shame, but hopefully people will start getting on that, because if this was any indication of what could be, I want more. A Court of Thorns and Roses is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, including Fae. So Feyre is essentially Beauty. And I say Beauty because I'm talking about the original, in which she was just called Beauty. So Feyre hates the Fae because the Fae have pretty much treated humans like crap, and there's this awful treaty that is very Fae-sided and human not-sided. It's bad. So she doesn't like the Fae, like most people. And when she's hunting, she spots this wolf Fae that's stalking her dinner for her family, and she goes ahead and she kills the wolf Fae anyway. She kills it, skins it, sells the pelt. Because what's a girl gonna do? All of a sudden this beast comes and he's just like, you killed one of my people. So you have the choice of either dying or coming with me to Prithian, which is the fairyland, and you will never be able to see your family again. And pretty much her family was just like, go. We don't need you anyway. So she went. That's when the story really kicked off. So we learned first off that the beast is not a beast, but gorgeous. Seriously, the descriptions of Tamlin in this book were amazing. He's got this golden hair and he's strong and tall. The way that they talked about him in the water scene was amazing. Like, Tamlin is this gorgeous guy and it's easy to fall for him, but he's gruff and he's rough, and you really start to get to see his softer side as the book goes on, but initially he's just a tough guy. He's just not too nice to Feyre, and I don't know why, but he's kind of nasty. So is Lucien. Lucien is Tamlin's second in command, and Lucien is this red-haired guy, but he's missing an eye because it was ripped out by this evil witch, Amarantha, who you meet later in the book. Lucien is just this guy he's funny and he's always with Feyre, and you can tell that he really cares about Feyre, and you can tell that he cares about Tamlin too. He's just the best friend that you can really have. He's awesome. He has some really great lines, and he was one of my favorite characters. At least he was until we were introduced to Rysand. Rysand was fantastic. So he just pops up and strolls up and saves Feyre from some nasty Fae. And he does it like nothing because he's one of the High Lords, High Lord of the Night Court. Because Feyre just seems to draw all the High Lords. I mean, Tamlin's the High Lord of the Spring Court. Rysand's the High Lord of the Night Court. And Lucien could have been High Lord of the Autumn Court. He's one of those guys that's really witty. For a long time, Lucien was kind of fitting that witty role, but once Rysand rolled in, you really understood why you didn't have somebody quite as witty, because you were just really waiting for Rysand to appear, because he is snark, he is nasty, he is dark, but you can tell that there's a sweetness to him and that he has motivations and that he's good and he's trying to do things. As I was reading it, what he reminded me of was Jean-Claude, from the Anita Blake series. He reminded me of Jean-Claude in the early days, where he was just this guy with a lot of swagger. It's hard not to see why people would be attracted to him, but you could also see how he could be a total jerk. And as the book just went on, you started to see more of the relationship that he had with Feyre and how he was really trying to protect her. And even if he was doing things that might have been problematic, he's going to be tied to her for quite a while. The fact that she actually willingly gave up a week of every single month for the rest of her life is crazy. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of Rysand, and I'm really looking forward to that, because I feel like he's done so much for her that if there's anybody that can pull Feyre's love away from Tamlin, it would probably be Rysand, because while he's dark and he's not always the nicest guy, you can definitely tell that he really does care for her. And I'm sure that that's going to grow, and we'll see and learn a lot more about the Night Court, which I cannot wait to go see the Night Court in the next book. Seriously, the Night Court seems really amusing. It's filled with starlight and night skies, and it just, it sounds like it would be a really fun place to go, even though it also sounds extremely dangerous. I also cannot finish a video in which I'm talking about spoilers without mentioning the fact that Feyre became a High Fae. Seriously. I mean, so we don't know what she can really do yet, because she's only really had her powers for a very short time, and she was kind of recovering from, you know, dying. And I'm just really excited to see what Feyre can do now, because as we saw throughout the book, she's not like Selena Sardothian. She's a little bit more timid, but she is still not somebody that you want to mess with. When she is determined to do something, she's gonna do it. I really just enjoyed that entire dynamic and seeing everything go on with that. And this book, it just gave me so many feels. I really did enjoy their relationship, the relationship between Feyre and Tamlin, because it didn't feel unhealthy. So I'm not going to say that I didn't have slight, tiny problems with their relationship, because he could be a little bit nasty, and there were things that they couldn't deal with because he was keeping secrets, but he wasn't trying to keep secrets because he couldn't say anything. But I mean, it also seemed like he kind of would push her away rather than letting her try to fight for something herself. At the end of the day, he still let her go do what she thought she wanted to do. So it was a relationship that I thought actually worked, even though it was definitely something that can actually be worked on in the future, which actually gives them more things to work on and grow. Nobody wants an absolutely perfect relationship in a book, especially if it's going to be a series, because if it's absolutely perfect, then what are they going to do other than just constantly fight for their love and proving themselves? And that gets dull after a while. Sometimes you want to see them having their own emotional challenges. So I just really enjoyed A Court of Thorns and Roses, and it was just so good. Another thing that I was really glad about was that this was based off of the original Beauty and the Beast and not the Disney version. Since that's the case, you get the more straightforward, where it's Beast is kind of a jerk from the beginning. You kind of saw her sisters being nasty. Oh my gosh, Nesta. So she came off as like the worst person initially, and then once Feyre actually got to go back and you really saw their relationship and that she was able to see through all the bullshit that the Fae tried to do, you really started to appreciate how strong and how good Nesta actually was. Nesta is fierce, and I'm really hoping that we get to see more of Nesta in the future, because she is the kind of person that you would want on your side. She's tough. She always, even though she treated Feyre not as well as she possibly could, she admitted that she kind of hated her a little bit because she was the one that was always taking care of them. She also knew that Feyre could take care of them, so she didn't mind pushing her. She just wanted to see if her father would, and she hated her father for it. And Nesta wants to see the world, and it's just, there's so much about Nesta that we can learn in the future. And I think that out of all of the characters from Feyre's old life, Nesta would be the one that would probably give the most interesting storylines into the future and what can come. A Court of Thorns and Roses is the first book in the series, and I will definitely be picking up the rest of the books when they eventually come out. It was such a good book. It is definitely one of my top 2 books of the year, and I know that it's still kind of early to say that, but I think it's going to stay up there. It's right now just a tie between this and Golden Sun, which both were amazing. It's really hard for a book to live up to expectations when you have such high expectations. I was sitting there with A Court of Thorns and Roses thinking this is going to be amazing, and not only did it deliver, it exceeded those expectations, and that's why I just really love it so much, because it just made me feel so much. It gave me such a solid story. It kept things moving, and I just really, really loved it. So if you get a chance and you like Beauty and the Beast, or you like fairies, or you just want to take a shot at new adult fantasy, definitely go check out A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And I will see you guys next time. Bye. Once you meet Rysand, you stop, because he's got this. I absolutely loved this